again. We will use the sounds of the sirens and the road and the birds and the mountains, wherever it is that you are, just to center us and bring us into a beautiful space. So we're keeping the water on the stove. Patricia, Patsy, sorry, you were not here yesterday when we talked about this analogy that Esther Hicks gave. That I just think is so simple, but it's just, I mean, the best things are the most simple, right? Sometimes. And she talked about how, you know, there's this law in the universe that we're very well aware of, this law of physics, that when we put a pot, you know, fill up a pot with water and put it on the stove and light the fire underneath it, not that anyone lights fires anymore, but, you know, presses the little button that ignites the thing, it will get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and eventually it will boil. And there are no exceptions to that rule. If there is heat underneath it, and given time, it will boil. And what we were looking at the spiritual principles and the spiritual laws, and how with our vision, for example, of what it is that we want to create and who it is that we want to be, it's almost like we keep putting the pan on the stove, turning the heat underneath it, and then getting really impatient after a little while and wondering why nothing's happening, and then taking it off the stove because we're fed up or we just don't believe it's going to work. But when we kind of remain steeped in our vision, like when it is present for us, when we sit with it, when we steep in it, when we steep ourselves in this way of being, the law, whatever the spiritual equivalent of that law is, it will come to fruition. It's going to boil. It might take a bit of time, but it's going to boil. So that's what we're doing throughout this whole month, is we're keeping the pan on the stove and we're keeping the heat underneath it of our visions of this other way of being. And we're not turning it off. And we're not going to wonder why it's, you know, nothing's happening or it's not working, because things are always happening. Yesterday I was just saying that, you know, we're always in action, even when we think we're not in action, you know, and we say, oh, I need to take action, I need to take massive action, or whatever it is. We actually are always in some form of action. It's just, where is that action coming from? Like, which place internally is that action coming from? And, you know, the water on our, if we use the same analogy of this pan and our vision, we're getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter all the time, all throughout this month. This is what we're doing. We're getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. That's the reaction to the action that we're taking in this space, if that makes sense. So, you know, so that's the purpose for it. And I heard this really interesting, you know, when you set out with in fact, I wanted to share something today and I've just remembered it. So I'm going to find it in a minute. When you set out with an intention and you turn that intention into determination, and then you have the courage to act on that determination, this is when what it is that we are creating comes to life, comes to fruition. And actually, I cannot think of any other better way to describe it than what I'm going to use to describe it. But it says in what it is that I'm going to share, that when we have this determination and this courage, and it turns into action, what happens is, like, the right thing comes to us, the right door opens, we meet the right person, like the right book is like given to us, or, you know, like these things happen because, like, we're always being assisted. When we have something that we want to create, it's not just us creating it, it's a co-creation, and it's a co-creation with God or the universe or whatever it is that you want to call it. And the reason it's a co-creation is because we did not create ourselves. We have been created. Therefore, like, we couldn't have created ourselves unless that's like some super trippy meta thing that just kind of blew my mind. I need to think on that. But we have been created. Therefore, we know that we can call on the assistance of whatever it is that created us, that of course wants us to progress and discover the nature of our true selves in whatever form that takes. And this morning, like, this same thing happened yesterday. I happened to turn something on YouTube, and it was all about vision. And I was like, okay, like, but I expect this now. It's all about vision. And then when I switched on, or I opened Instagram this morning, the first thing I saw was Michael Beckwith, and he never normally shows up on my feed, but it was Michael Beckwith talking about how the most dangerous people in the world are those that don't have a vision. And I'm like, oh, that's like, I mean, that's a really interesting way to put it. And of course, this, as soon as he said the most dangerous people in the world, like, I stopped scrolling. And then when he said that don't have a vision, I'm like, this is so true, because when we don't have a vision for progress, when we don't have a vision for something better for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, for the world, what are we doing? All we're doing is recreating the past, or even kind of worse, kind of the same thing. We're recreating life from the standpoint of our ego, which is all fear-based. So do we want to be around people who are all constantly creating from the past and constantly creating from fear? Or do we want to be people who are constantly creating from the position of a vision for something better? But for that, we need to hold on to that vision, which can be the trickiest thing to do, because the fear always wants to come in, which is its job. That's cool. But we're here creating another space. So just, if you will, just close your eyes for a moment. And just take a moment to get super relaxed. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And then take a deep breath out and just let it all out as well. And then take another breath in. Hold it. And then take another really deep breath out. And then take a deep breath in again. Hold it. And then take a really long, slow, loving breath out. And then just continue a pattern of breathing that feels comfortable to you. And then just bring your attention, first of all, just to your body, this amazing machine that we all have. And just take your attention, starting at your toes, give them a wiggle, wake them up, give them thanks for being there. And take your attention into the soles of your feet, up through your legs, all the way up. Keep going. And just notice if there's any areas of tension, just give them a wiggle out, a little stretch. Feel the weight of your body in the chair where you're sitting. Keep breathing into your body. Take your attention all the way up through your chest, into your shoulders, down your arms. Stretch your fingers. And then up into your neck, back of your head, your hair. Relax your jaw. Relax your cheeks. Relax your forehead. And just sit in this space for a moment. And just notice how abundantly gracious. This life is, this space is, this body is. We have a body that we don't even need to figure out how to use. We have a body that's breathed for us all day long, all night long. We have a body whose blood is always being pumped, whose little white cells are always fighting infection, which is always growing without any will from us, without any exertion. And just take a moment just to notice the miracle of that and how abundantly gracious that is, that we have been given this vehicle, this machine. And now just let your mind wander a moment, knowing that you're not your body, but you have been given one. Let your spirit wander. Let your soul wander. And let it ask the question, what have I been given this body for? What is it here to help me do, experience, create? And now just take a moment just to sink your awareness into your heart space. And as you focus on your heart space, just feel and notice how it gets warmer and warmer and hotter and hotter as we wake up this heart space, as we light a fire under it. As we create a heart that is burning with the fire of love. Love for ourselves, love for others, love for humanity, love for whatever it is that we wish to create, love for life, love for all creation. Over the past few days, we've been moving into the space between, into the 99.99999% that exists, rather than the 0.0001% that we can actually see. And we're getting super curious about this space. And one of the things that we have been doing is expressing our gratitude for what it is that we have already created, that is already done, that already exists as a possibility, that we are simply bringing forth and calling forth into physical reality. And one of the most important elements of that is to really feel it. And to know something truly is not just an intellectual exercise. To know something is to believe it at a cellular level. It is to feel it with every ray that illuminates from your heart. So we're going to focus on dropping into this heart space more and bringing this vision and this gratitude and this knowingness and this certainty of being into this space of the heart. One of my favorite quotes is, the intellect is good, but until it is a servant of the heart, it is of little avail. I'm going to repeat that. The intellect is good, but until it is a servant of the heart, it is of little avail. So we have this amazing creative mind. But how often is it that our mind is the servant of our heart? How often is it that our mind and our thinking is bowed down in submission before its master, the heart? How often do we go about life thinking our way through everything, disconnected from the source of our greatest power, the spirit which speaks through the heart space? So over the next few days more, over the next few weeks, we're going to become more and more and more and more and more solidified into this heart space, into coming from this heart space, into coming from this place of infinite love, unconditional love, of infinite possibility, which is the same as infinite love, of infinite creation. This space of knowingness that will beat the mind any day of the week, but which can then use the mind as a tool to bring these visions into reality. I want you to bring to mind an element of your vision. I want you to see it in your mind's eye, and I want you to see yourself actually doing it. I want you to see the picture of it actually happening. Where are you? Who is it that you're with, if anyone? What are you wearing? What do you look like? How is your energy? What is the look on your face? How is your radiance? What's around you? And if this vision is kind of a little bit here, a little bit there, if it's fuzzy, no problem whatsoever. Everything is completely perfect. We're leaning into a space that possibly doesn't get leaned into all that often. This is like building the muscle of sight when we've been blind or blinded for many, many years. We're building this new muscle of sight. We're just looking at something different, using a different pair of eyes. So know that whatever it is that you see is perfect. It's exciting. It is Awesome. Now I want you to think about the feeling of this vision. Bring an element of feeling into this vision. How does she feel? How does she move? What is her energy like? And I want you to bring that energy, that movement, that feeling deep into your heart space. We're lighting a fire under our hearts. Allow that feeling to completely occupy your heart space. Allow it to begin to radiate out. Feel the warmth, feel the radiance, feel the joy. And when we go into our gratitude, this is what we're truly grateful for. It's being able to cultivate and have and grow and be this love, this feeling, this energy. An energy and a feeling that is available to us right now. This is the fire under the stove. This is what makes our visions hot. This is what makes them boil. It is the fire of the heart. And we're going to continue to light it and light it and light it and let it burn and get brighter and brighter. Take that feeling into your body, into your cells. Allow your mind to bow down in submission before this burning heart. And let's build upon this muscle every day. So just take a deep breath. Relax your body. Keep that feeling in your heart. Feel the warmth. Like it's scientifically proven that when we put our awareness onto a particular area of our body, we can actually warm up that area. We can take our awareness to our heart and keep it warm and keep it burning. Take a deep breath. Slowly come back to the room. And then while you're still in this space, take a moment to write down what it is that you saw, what it is that you experienced, what it is that you felt. And as you write this down, be so grateful, feel so grateful. Thank you, guys. If you're still finishing up, or if you've finished, I should say, just sit in it. Just be in it. Allow yourself to steep in that feeling, in the vision. And then I invite you just to close your eyes once more. Again, just take a few deep breaths and relax your body. I'm going to read something that's called the 5 Steps of Prayer, which came from Pilgrim's Notes. I'm going to read it and then we can talk about it or see what we got from it. It says, step 1, pray and meditate about it. Use the prayers of the manifestations as they have the greatest power. Then remain in the silence of contemplation for a few minutes. Step 2, arrive at a decision and hold to this. This decision is usually born during the contemplation. It may seem almost impossible of accomplishment, but if it seems to be the answer to a prayer or a way of solving the problem, immediately take the next step. Step 3, have the determination to carry the decision through. Many fail here. The decision budding into determination is blighted and instead becomes a wish or a vague longing. When determination is born, immediately take the next step. Step 4, have faith and confidence that the power will flow through you. The right way will appear. The door will open. The right thought, the right message, the right principle, or the right book will be given to you. Have confidence and the right thing will come to your need. Then, as you arise from prayer, take at once the 5th step. Step 5. Act as though it had already been answered. Then act with tireless, ceaseless energy. And as you act, you yourself will become a magnet, which will attract more power to your being until you become an unobstructed channel for the divine power to flow through you. Many pray but do not remain for the last half of the first step. And the last half of the first step was to remain in contemplation for a few minutes. Some who meditate arrive at a decision but fail to hold it. Few have the determination to carry the decision through. Still fewer have the confidence that the right thing will come to their need. But how many remember to act as though it had already been answered? How true are these words? Greater than the prayer is the spirit in which it is uttered, and greater than the way it is uttered is the spirit in which it is carried out. I'm going to recap those steps. Step 1, pray and meditate about it. Remain in silence and contemplation for a few minutes. Arrive at a decision and hold to it, even if it seems impossible. Have determination to carry the decision through. Otherwise, it will become a vague wish or longing. Step 4, have faith and confidence that you will get exactly what it is that you need. Step 5, act as though it had already been answered. Then you become a magnet. Then you draw and attract the power to your being, and you become an unobstructed channel for divine power to flow through you. Greater than the prayer is the spirit in which it is uttered, and greater than the way it is uttered is the spirit in which it is carried out. So we have these visions. We've been in contemplation about them. We're drawing the energy of the heart into these visions. Now it's time to arrive at a decision that we're going to hold to it. Even if it seems impossible. And I know you guys are already at this step anyway. So the next one is to have the determination to carry it through. So we're just going to sit and we're just going to stop there for now. We're going to muster and generate and focus over the next few calls on cultivating this determination, this single-minded craziness of this vision, and having the determination to carry it through. Just the determination. That's what we're focusing on right now, and that's what we're going to cultivate and move into, because the determination becomes more of an unstoppable force. And we're building this energy of determination and we're putting it on the friggin' stove. And we're letting it heat up. So I just invite you to open your eyes once again. And then be amazing if everyone would share